Welcome to Getting Sketchy Live, brought to you by thevirtualinstructor.com. And now, let's get sketchy.
Hello there, everyone. Matt here with thevirtualinstructor.com, and welcome to Gettin Sketchy Live, the greatest live broadcast in all of YouTube. Tonight, I'm going to be doing the drawing for you here. And let me just explain what's going on here. For Gettin Sketchy, either myself or Ashley, we try to create a drawing for you inside of 45 minutes. I'm a little nervous about tonight's drawing. They're always sketchy drawings. That's why we call the show Getting Sketchy. And like I said, I'm going to be doing the drawing for you tonight. We have a timer and everything, and we're going to do our best to finish this one in 45 minutes. I'm a little concerned about that, as you can probably tell. But I hope everybody is doing fantastic this evening. And like always, I'm joined by Ashley. How are you doing this evening, Ashley?
Doing great, Matt. Thank you for asking. I hope you folks are doing well. And like Matt said, he'll be doing the drawing, and I'll be reading the chat. And boy, am I glad the chat is coming through in English tonight. Although last week was fun with all of your phonetic misspellings and trying to decipher what kind of questions you wanted to ask. But tonight, you can ask them in regularly spelled English, and I'll be reading them, and many of them I'll be reading aloud so we can discuss and talk about them. So bring your questions while we watch Matt put this drawing together.
Yeah, and watch Matt sweat, because I'm going to be sweating tonight. Anyway, yeah, the chat box, for those of you who don't know, last week the chat box was a glitch with YouTube. From what I understand, AI was blocking all English comments.
Brilliant.
So that's not happening tonight, as you can see. So there is a chat box. If you are watching the live version of this, you can post comments and post questions. If you do have a comment or question that's directed at Ashley or I, we ask that you use the super chat function here on YouTube. It does cost a little bit of money, but it does go to help out the channel, and it also prominently displays your comment or question there on the screen, so we have plenty of time to address it. This is going to be drawing 2 of the season, and right. I'm going to be working on marker paper with markers and pen and ink. So if you want to go ahead and gather those materials, you can. And I am assuming that you are here right now because you love drawing, and you maybe want to draw a little bit better. And if that's the case, then you need to head over to thevirtualinstructor.com. There you will find thousands of art instruction videos on every subject matter and medium that you can imagine. We have courses, we have classes, we have ebooks. We do weekly critiques for members. And there's also a year-long curriculum for visual arts teachers that includes everything you need to teach for the entire year. You can literally walk into your classroom, bring up the program, and use all of our resources. And of course, you can just take attendance. But if you want to learn more about the program, there is a QR code on your screen right now. You can scan it and it will take you over there, and you can learn more about it. There's also a link in the description below this video if you want to check it out as well. If you haven't checked out thevirtualinstructor.com, I would encourage you to do that. If you want to just check out 3 of our ebooks and course videos for free, you can do that as well, and that will put you on our mailing list. There's a link in the description below for that as well. So it is nice and warm here in North Carolina. Yes. It is 72 today. Tomorrow it's going to be close to 80. And boy, I am excited because I hate the cold. I'm actually wearing shorts today, and that's fantastic. So I know that somebody said it was warm in Texas, but it's usually warm in Texas, and I guess it gets cold.
Warmer, relatively speaking, warmer than we are. That's right.
Yeah, warmer than we are.
It feels like spring has sprung. The daffodils are coming up in my yard, and as soon as I see that first yellow daffodil, I feel my mood lift. So I think. I don't know if I would call it seasonal depression, but there's something I come out of when the flowers start coming up. So depression, or just kind of just your droopiness, We had a lot of ice and snow, which usually I root for. I'd be fine not seeing any ice and snow for 3 or 4 years. We'll see if that transpires.
Me too. I hate the cold. All right, listen. I did a test drawing earlier today, and it took me longer than an hour, and that was without me talking. So I'm going to need all the time I can get here for this one tonight. So let's go ahead and switch over. All right, so we are going to be drawing this little duckling here, and should be fun. This is an interesting image because it is backlit, meaning that the light source is coming from behind the subject, which kind of puts highlights around the edges. It's the light is a little bit more dominant from the left side, but you can see
it's
by
like
the
it's
cast
almost like there's a fill light,
Yeah.
that still lights up because the whole front of the duck is in shadow, but it's not obscured by darkness in any way.
Well, I did edit this image.
You're the fill light.
And it was a little darker than what it is now.
Okay.
I lightened things up a little bit. But we're going to be going for more of a graphic style tonight. We're still going to be paying attention to the highlights and shadows, but it's going to be a little bit more of a graphical drawing instead of
Cool.
More painterly looking one. The photo reference that I'm working from, you can find it by going to the YouTube channel. So if you click on the little icon of my face down underneath this video, it will take you to the YouTube channel. While you're there, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel and click the notification bell. And then you can head over to the post link. There's a section that says posts, and the most recent post has this photo reference here for you. If you want to have it follow along, I will have it up during tonight's broadcast, so you will be able to see it throughout the process. All right, real quickly, the materials that we're going to be working with. I am working on marker paper. This is Strathmore marker paper, and the size I have, blocked off here is 6 inches tall by 5.75 inches wide, and that's just proportional to the reference photo. And that will help me kind of find the edges of the duck when I start drawing it. I'm going to be using a graphite pencil here initially. This is a lead holder with, I think it's 2B graphite in there. I'm not real sure.
Mm-hmm.
I put it in there a while ago, and it's either 2B or HB. It's not that big of a difference between the two, but this is what I'll be using to sketch out things early on. And I also have a couple of technical drawing pens. I have a 0.1 and a 0.8, and both of these are Staedtler pigment liners. And you can use any type of ink pen that you want, but you want to make sure that the pen is permanent because we're going to be putting some alcohol-based markers over the top. And
That's
for
right.
the alcohol-based markers, I'm going to be using Prismacolor Premier alcohol-based markers. And before we get too deep into this, yes, the alcohol-based markers are very different from the water-based markers that you might be typically used to, because these are translucent. So that allows us to put layers of applications on, which is really critically important with the drawing that we're going
Build
to
up
create
your
tonight.
values in
Right.
stages.
Yeah, kind of like when you work with watercolor, you put different layers on this. I see Peach Bayou says, what drew you to this reference? Well, I think the shape's interesting. I think the posture of the duck is interesting. And also the expression on the duck is interesting. So that's what drove me to it. Are those smelly pens? Yeah, they smell a little bit. They don't smell terrible or anything, but
I
they
don't
do.
think so.
You can smell them when you pop the lid off of them. I have an assortment of colors. I'll do my best to call out the names of the colors as I'm using them, but like I said, this is going to take every single minute tonight and a little bit more than that as well. So I think, do we have anything before we start?
Any other comments or questions?
Yeah. No.
Just folks are talking about the different types of pens. Lord Engine mentions liking the Staedtler pens, and I have a set of those. I do like those. But as you mentioned, the tips are pretty delicate. So in the classroom, we stick with the microns. They do tend to hold up a little bit.
I have the opposite opinion.
Oh, really?
I think the Staedtler pens last longer and do a better job than the microns, and they're more expensive.
Yeah, they are.
Microns are more expensive. All right, so let's go ahead and get the clock started here. 45 minutes, and I'm going to be drawing as fast as I can. So let's get started. All right, the first thing I'm going to do is find where the top of the head of the duckling is located, and I'm just using the top edge of the picture plane to determine where that is located. And I'm going to go ahead and draw kind of a large oval shape here, holding the pencil down at the shaft, so I'm barely touching the surface, and I'm not worried about all those different lines because, well, we're going to cover them up, and it helps me be a little bit looser by drawing this way. All right, now I'm going to figure out where the feet of the duck are located.
I like how the duck is has a turn in his posture. His body's facing us, but the head's sideways. You know, it's not, even though he's facing us and the light is directly behind him, the head being turned keeps him from feeling too static. It reminds me of the drawings of people in Egyptian hieroglyphs, right? The body's facing the viewer and the head's turned sideways. So
this duck is walking like an Egyptian.
Waddling like an Egyptian.
Waddling like an Egyptian. You remember that song from the 80s?
Oh, yeah. And I need that because I've got a song. I told Matt I've got a song stuck in my head. So if we can think of some other songs, maybe it'll wedge one out.
Yeah.
And that's another song that gets stuck in your head.
You know, I remember when that song came out, and I remember going to the store with my aunt and walking like an Egyptian in the store.
Of course you did.
Because, you know, in that video, they're all walking like an Egyptian.
Mm-hmm. Did your aunt walk with you like an Egyptian?
Heck no.
Like a little row?
She walked far away from me.
Yeah.
All right. So we've got kind of a division here between a lighter section and a darker section. So I drew some loose lines for that. And now I'm drawing the bottom of the body of the duck here. And we got a little wing coming out here, little wing. It's a little baby duck.
All One Word Caps remembers Steve Martin's song about Egyptians. Yeah, I remember that now that you mention it. And Keith says that the original was by the Bangles. That's
right. Yep.
I found a video that
Just another manic Monday.
Was that the Bangles? No, that's Cyndi Lauper.
No,
the Bangles.
I think the Bangles. I think Manic Monday was the Bangles.
All right, tell us, folks.
Yeah, you'll have to tell us.
Cyndi Lauper or the Bangles for Manic Monday. Definitely not My Fun Day.
It's probably Cyndi Lauper because I'm always wrong.
So I clicked on a video, the type that I never click on the other day, where you listen to part of a song, you know, like 3 seconds of a song, and then it gives you a moment to identify who it is. And I did that for like 30 minutes, you know, just yelling out the names of songs. A lot of them wrong. Okay. Let's see. Jenny Claire V says, yes, Manic Monday is the Bangles. Matt got me there.
Yeah, just another man.
Yeah.
See, I think I remember that because I thought the Bangles lead singer was an attractive woman.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I have her eyes in my mind saying the Manic Monday.
She's burned into your brain.
Yeah. All right. So you can see I've added the first duck foot there. And I know that is probably not called a foot. What is it called?
It's a foot.
It's not a foot.
It's a webbed foot.
It's a.
Not a flipper. It's not a wing.
It's not. Well, if it was a flipper, it'd be a dolphin, wouldn't it?
That's right.
All right.
Elizabeth says that song was written by Prince for the Bangles.
Wow. Okay.
How is that? I didn't know it, and that doesn't surprise me.
Well, big Prince fan here too.
Yeah.
I mourned the day he died.
Yeah.
All right. So, just real quick here, once I've got the overall body of the duck in place, I haven't added the bill or anything. You can see that I'm kind of drawing the feet here in segments.
Mm-hmm.
And again, just going really quick.
You're really knocking these contours out. And somebody, it might have been Keith before, mentioned this is a good drawing for using basic shapes. And you definitely see those in here. The head is just slightly broader than a circle, an oval, and the body is very similar. You could even, Matt is going right after these wiggly little curvy contours in the feet. But you could draw those out with what to me looks kind of like a diamond shape, like a sideways playing diamond.
Yeah, you could totally start with like just a triangle.
Sure.
You know? But yeah, I'm kind of focusing on the angular qualities of this little section down here. All right. Let's go ahead and real quickly.
And he looks like he's standing, but like he's not quite strong enough to stand because his rear end is on the ground. He would be standing.
Guys, like I said,
got to get a little stronger.
I am going as fast as I possibly can. This is made up of pretty basic shapes. And that's not really the challenge. The challenge tonight is the materials.
The marker application.
Yeah, the pen and ink and marker applications. Just because there is a lot of layers that we need to add here and a lot of line work. And it needs to be a little bit more of a slower type of application in order for this to work out. So, all right, let's go ahead and add that bill up there. So we'll get the head, and you can see it kind of comes down. There's a little bit of a point at the top.
Yeah, a little bit of a faster turn from one side of the head to the forehead, to the slope. So if you started with a basic shape like an oval, then it's your next step would be to see, now how is the head not like an oval? You know, what about it is different from a symmetric oval? And then you'll identify that bump.
A little flatter on the bottom. But still not a perfectly pointy beak. It kind of comes around. Almost like a different type of bird. Now I am singing Manic Monday in my head. I didn't have a song stuck in my head. Because that's my fun day. Sunday's not your fun day?
Who mine?
Yeah.
I like all the days, but Monday I don't feel like talking.
No, but the song says, wish it were a Sunday.
Oh, right.
Because that's my fun day.
Yeah.
And draw the eye. And if
I
we
love
look at
Sundays.
Look at the eye, it's right above the neck. So I've put it in the wrong place. So let's move it over a little bit further. Because that's my fun day. Oh, what has Ashley done to me? All right, now I'm just going to draw a few quick lines to determine or to plan out where we have that strong contrasting pattern.
It's tiger stripes. It's a dangerous duckling. Buddy points out that since we have another show now on Mondays, she is loving that day too. Loving Mondays.
Okay.
So if you haven't tuned in for Mondays with Matt, then you just got like 4 more days to go, and you can.
Right. But that is for members only. So you do have to be a member at the Virtual Instructor to access that. But yeah, we do 2 live streams a week for members.
That's a great incentive.
One is right after this show that you're watching right now. And boy, that drawing is killing me. That drawing I have probably 40 plus hours in at this point.
And tonight is going to be lesson 10 of that series, I believe. Is that right?
Yes.
Lesson 10, which is usually the max number of lessons that Matt shoots for, and myself as well. But this one couldn't do it in 10. It's a full course.
It really is. And it has everything in it too. I mean,
it's a large
everything except people
drawing with a small pen.
All right, let's get some ink in place. I think I've made my duckling a little bit fatter, but I like it.
Mm-hmm.
I like him a little fatter. All right, I'm going to start
That's
here.
how you make pate, right?
With the 0.8 millimeter pen.
All right. Charles asks, what happens after the first 10 lessons of Mondays with Matt? Lesson 11.
No, then we start a new series.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
not of Mondays with Matt though. That's different. Those
no, Mondays
shorter.
with Matt will be. Yeah. That right now with Mondays with Matt, we are doing Drawing Boot Camp 2.0. And when that series is over, we will do another series. And I already have ideas for the next series.
So the generally around 10 lesson classes, those are the Wednesday night classes, the class that begins right after this program.
No, the series are still. I still want to cap all of them off at 10 lessons if possible.
Yeah.
Just because of how it fits on the screen. When the videos are posted. So I've when you've got more than 10 lessons, you have to scroll down to find all the videos, all the videos in the lesson.
Right.
If you're a member at the Virtual Instructor, you know what I'm talking about. But all right, so I'm choosing to use kind of a thicker pen here, this 0.8 pen, but I can use the side of it to create lighter marks or thinner marks to get kind of this wispy hair out here. And I'm going to exaggerate it a little bit because we want this drawing to be a little bit graphic in nature.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of drawing a real hard edge here, I'm using the strokes here of the furry duck to kind of define the edge.
There's a line made of marks instead of a line, a consistent line.
Yeah, that's a good way to think about it.
Charles says, will it be appropriate for beginners?
Yeah, we have lessons for all different levels. So right now, the series we're doing on Wednesday night is definitely advanced.
Mm-hmm.
But the series we're doing on Mondays right now is definitely for beginners. So, and then we have series that are for intermediate artists and so on. So, so we kind of cater to all different levels, we're not going to say Mondays are only for beginners or, Wednesdays are only for advanced students or anything like that. So
depends on
the series.
Yeah, the specific series. Good question.
So I'm going to have some of these marks kind of overlap and then go a little bit in the opposite direction here. Maybe go a little bit into the body. But I want to be a little bit slow and deliberate with some of these marks. I don't want to get too out of control here. And I'm already freaking out about the time because I know how much time it's going to take for these layering these markers. But maybe I'm going a little faster than I did earlier today when I did my test drawing. I don't usually do the test drawings, but for this one I did because the colors are a little bit tricky because they're all most of them are, there's yellows and stuff, but there's also a lot of neutrals in there.
Yeah, a lot of earthy colors.
And I wanted this to be a little bit more colorful. So we're gonna have a little bit higher saturation than what we see in the reference. And we're going to also add some colors that might be unexpected here. We're going to try to focus on, using a little bit of purple to complement the yellow, also a little bit of blue in some of the shadowed areas.
Now, do you plan to use the pen and then switch to the marker and stick with the marker to the end, or do you imagine yourself going back to the pen?
I may go back to the pen.
Okay.
So we'll see.
You mentioned unexpected colors, and Jen says, of course, purple. I don't know.
You guys give me a hard time about purple.
Maybe even more unexpected.
But purple is a great color. No, we're going to use some purple.
All right, Jen, you're right.
Because there is purple in here. And, I know you guys think I see purple in everything. But there is purple. If you look in the bill of the duck, there's purple there. And if you look in the feet, there's purple there too.
It's purple and kind of there's some red violet in there, which is purple-like.
Well, we're going to make
purple adjacent.
We're going to make it purple. All right. And you can't see this, but even though I'm drawing this in more of a graphic way, I am still going back and forth between the reference and the marks that I'm making on the surface.
And, if you don't, you run the risk of making your marks too consistent. Too many, Matt is making marks generally in a direction, but there's still a lot of variety there, subtle variety as he works his way around the contour. Not you don't want to get in the habit of making the same mark over and over. And there's so much variety in a real reference that it can really be a good guide. Keep looking at your reference.
All right, we're going to give a little bit of an indication of where this light section meets the darker
that
section.
Little change from the breast to the belly.
With the pen. Do that with the marker for sure. All right, I'm going to add a little bit more weight to the bottom of the bill up here. That line a little bit thicker. A little bit more variety up there because we're going to make this line down here a little bit thicker.
A heavier weight line can kind of indicate a shadow without actually putting in a shadow. Just lets us know it's there. A lot of line quality happening here. Some of the lines are very thin and wispy.
Yeah, trying to get a little bit more variety in that right now. All right, let's go up here. Got a little bit of an edge where we see some contrast.
Maria says, your little duck looks mean. I wonder if it's that stripe that goes through his eye, his war paint.
I don't know, but I don't think he's mean.
Intimidating.
My duck looks mean. What does a mean duck look like?
I think he looks tough. Well, it's a bird, so it is mean because all birds are mean. It doesn't mean I don't like birds, but they're all a little mean.
You've done it now. You can't take that back.
I've been trying to get.
You have offended,
I might have mentioned on the program last
somebody
week.
out there.
I'm sure I have. But I like birds, and I'm trying to get some crows. I'm trying to befriend some crows in my neighborhood right now. Me and my son.
I would love to see that happen.
We're dying to make friends with the crows that live in our neighborhood, and so we toss them things to eat, and we toss them just a little closer to ourselves each time.
Well, I'm sure
and they stand there and they scream at us because they want us to back up so they can come get the food and not have to get too close. And they'll just scream and scream, and then finally they'll come get the food. So they're persistent.
That doesn't necessarily sound like a friend.
Not yet, but gradually they're going to understand that we mean them no harm.
Right.
And crows are smart, so they'll probably catch on pretty fast.
They'll probably eat you.
Jen says, maybe I should ask the crows to come in and watch sumo wrestling with you. I am so excited. The new sumo, Grand Sumo tournament starts in just a few days. I was watching some commentary yesterday on the current rankings. So we're just a few days away from 15 days of Grand Sumo.
Do you think, now this is a serious question, do you think you're the only person in the United States watching sumo wrestling?
Okay, Matt, we're in North Carolina, and I found a YouTube channel of some great guys from North Carolina that do sumo news.
Oh, yeah?
And there is a sumo club in Raleigh that has a tournament in June, I think. So I'm gonna check that out.
Are you gonna join? Are you gonna be in the tournament?
No, I'm not gonna do that.
You could get one of those suits.
You don't have to have a suit. You don't have to be 320 pounds to participate in sumo, but you do if you want to win, right? But in any case, I might take a trip down for a day and watch some good old North Carolina sumo in Raleigh.
Oh my gosh, what a trip that would be. Good old North Carolina sumo wrestling.
It's going to be great.
All right,
So
let's add
there's a lot
another leg
happening
here.
in sumo right now. There's a really great Ozeki who just made Ozeki and won the last tournament. And if he wins this next tournament, it's always a long shot because there's so many great wrestlers, that he'll practically be a shoe-in for Yokozuna. And so that's your incentive to watch. Sumo history could be made.
What is Yokozuna?
It's like the highest rank that you can attain. And their rankings change every month. But once you're Yokozuna, you pretty much stay there or have to retire because you don't want to go down from the top. All right, let's see. Buddy says, I have been watching crows waiting on top of a walnut tree for a car that might crack their walnuts. Yeah, that's practically using tools. They're using our stuff as tools to crack walnuts. Smart birds. All one word cap says, I have lots of crow friends here. They are super smart. Once they are friends, there's no going back. Peanuts, and hold still when you toss them out for them. Yeah, my son and I, we freeze. We don't move. We don't move forward or backwards. We want to seem real consistent and stable so that they know they can trust us. Thanks for the advice. I'm glad that, you've made friends with crows, because that means that maybe I can make friends with crows.
You've given him hope.
Now, we have a lot of bird feeders and bird like houses for bluebirds. So we have a lot of birds in our yard anyway. And, so they know it's a friendly place.
Just a few more lines here, and then we'll start with the marker applications. But I do want to plan out where the shadow should be here. So we're going to
a little bit
of a little cast shadow down here.
It's just about marker time.
The shadow is something else that's interesting about this reference, because the light is coming from behind, putting the shadow in front.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, relatively uncommon. The backlit subject. And Matt, you're going to leave. Are you going to put that like some green behind the head, or are you going to keep the background empty since it's kind of a graphic image?
Yeah, what I would really like to do is put like a field of color behind the head, but I don't think I'm gonna have time to do that. Like a design element.
Oh yeah, that would be great.
Yeah,
I would love that.
Like a purple rectangle. But
yeah, that would look super cool with the colors, and also help that that glow around the edge of his head to pop.
Right, that's what I would like to do. Not gonna have time to do that though, I don't think. All right. Now we're going to erase the pencil lines that remain, but I'm a little nervous about that because that thick 0.08 marker dries very slowly.
Mm-hmm.
Or pen dries very slowly.
Edie says, the snow is finally melting and we're getting our sidewalks back. Yay. I'm happy for you. I was glad to see it go. And I know you've been in a deep freeze for a long time. All right, looks like it's doing okay. No smearing.
No smearing so far.
What kind of paper are you using?
This is marker paper, Strathmore marker paper.
Yeah, it's making a different sound with the eraser. It's loud.
You can hear the.
All right, squeaky clean.
All right. We're going to start with a very light yellow. This is cream, actually. And we are going to cover the entire body of the duck.
So you're starting with your lightest color first,
Mm-hmm.
just like watercolor. You getting some bleed up there?
It is bleeding a little bit, yeah. Which, that's not cool, but can't do anything about it.
In a perfect world, maybe you'd let the ink lines just rest for a little while.
Yeah. It's not going to have that big of an effect here.
Right. Sue asks, what kind of eraser works best on colored pencils?
Well, if you're going to have any luck erasing, then it's going to be with a vinyl or plastic eraser. But
and it's still going to leave a stain on your paper.
It's with colored pencils, they're not erase friendly.
But you can erase back down if you've built up your layers all the way and you want to get back to the paper to make a color change. You can do that, but the hard, really kind of vigorous erasing required, you may change the tooth of the page a little bit. It may smooth out or flatten out a little bit. And in the electric erasers, if you just have something very small to erase, those are plastic erasers that come with the electric erasers. So maybe a little bit of extra horsepower will help you.
So in the areas where the ink's had a little bit more time to dry, it's not bleeding.
That's good.
But it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, and that little bit of place where it bled a little, that's where the dark stripe is anyway.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to be inconsequential to the finished result.
All right. Now we're going to go a little bit deeper here. A little bit deeper with the yellow.
Look at those strong little legs. They look strong and muscular.
Figure out which yellow we're going to go deeper with here.
Goldenrod.
Sunburst yellow.
Sunburst yellow.
Next here.
That's a little bit more colorful than goldenrod.
And we're gonna let this be a little bit more saturated than what it is in the reference. Go back to the fatter side.
But he says she got her contour lines with this drawing in without doing any erasing. She didn't allow herself to. It's probably good, because there's some real flexibility with natural subjects like animals. So sometimes it's best to stick with your early and confident marks as opposed to kind of fussing over them and doing too much adjusting. You got to ask yourself, does it matter? And depending on, how different our lines may be from the reference, it may not even matter given the subject.
So yeah, this is a little bit of a stronger color than what we see in the reference. The colors in the reference are pretty neutral.
Mm-hmm.
And we want this to be a little bit more graphic.
Are you going to take that color over the feet since there's some warm colors in the feet?
No, I'm going to leave the
Okay.
feet separate and different.
Okay.
Feet are where we're going to see the purple.
Lord Engine has a name for our duck, and it's Howard.
Of course.
Of course it is.
All right. Let's go with a little yellow ochre here. This is a little bit warmer, a little bit more brown.
Was that an 80s movie? Was it 80s? Or was that
Howard
a
the
90s
Duck?
movie? Howard the
Yeah,
Duck.
that was definitely 80s, yeah.
Seems like it would be.
Yeah, definitely 80s. Just trying to make strokes like the furry duck.
Jen says it's one of the worst movies ever made. You know, a lot of 80s movies I like, but many of them I've gone back and watched them, you know, as an adult, and gosh, they were silly, super silly movies. Blockbuster hits. It was basically, I mean, there was a lot of just people in costumes back then.
I liked Howard the Duck.
Howard the Duck, Matt likes it. Teen Wolf was very successful.
Teen Wolf is great.
Yeah.
I mean,
it is a good movie.
It is a great movie. We watched Teen Wolf many times over and over again in my family, in my house. We're Michael J. Fox
Yeah,
fans.
it's just a whole family of werewolves on your block. Leave them alone. They're just different. Let's see, we have the Gremlins. You know, this is the second time I've talked about the Gremlins today.
Somehow I'm not surprised about that. I mean, doesn't seem like that would be.
This is the premise of the movies were so silly.
Okay, I'm going to take a little bit of French gray, 20% here, and we're going to just darken up some of the tones on the chest here. Just going over the top. Create a little bit of shadow here. And French gray is a warmer gray, very warm gray. So it can really push these yellows and make them look a little darker.
Yeah, sometimes French gray seems like a brown, but it feels really gray with these super hot colors around it. All right, Jen says the French gray is making all the difference.
Yeah, it's adding a little bit more impression of form.
Pulling it together.
But we got lots of layers still to add. Here, lots and lots. All right, let's go ahead and get some of the browns in here, and that'll at least give us some more contrast. So dark brown here. hope my duck is still not looking mean. I don't think this duck looks mean.
No. It's cuddly. They still sell ducks at Harbor Freight. You buy a little.
I have been in there when they're selling chicks. Yeah,
Chicks. I've seen chicks.
Yeah, I don't know about ducks. They probably do.
Not Harbor Freight. It's what's the name? Tractor Supply.
Tractor Supply. I knew what you were talking about when you said Harbor Freight. Gonna go get some tools. Harbor Freight's the tool place.
Yeah, that's right. That's the tool place.
But you can buy tools at
lots of tools at Tractor Supply.
Tractor Supply too, yeah.
All right, now in the head, we can see how those colors are working together, and there's plenty of reason to keep using that brown in the body.
Okay, 7 minutes left. No way.
7 minutes on the clock, but 13 minutes in the show.
Did the show have a timer?
No, but it's about how long we have till 7:30. We can go as long as we want.
We can. I make the rules.
Yeah, we can go as long as we want.
Although I would like to get this drawing done in the 45 minutes. Just
still the target.
Seldom happens that way.
Yeah,
maybe
rarely have I put what I feel like is an appropriate last mark on a drawing on Getting Sketchy, and it just kind of land right on 45 minutes. It always feels like I just want to do a little bit more.
I think we have done it a couple times.
Yeah, it's happened for both of us. But it's beautiful and perfect when it does work out that way. We planned right. We picked the right medium and the right subject for the format. And we've had a lot of practice. This is like season 16. So you'd think it happened more than not, but not.
Okay, let's get a little burnt sienna in here.
All one word. Cap says, make time for the purple. Certainly.
Oh yeah, we're gonna finish this, or we're gonna get it to a point where it's can be called finished.
Where it's realized, fully realized, evenly rendered. I fired some clay today, and I'm going to check the kiln from my phone to see how hot it still is. I love these new kilns that are connected to Wi-Fi. We've come a long way.
All right, let's get some more shadow in here. Let's see. Let's try some 70% French gray is too strong. Let's see if we got 50%. 50% cool gray. I'm wasting time here. Here we go. 50% French gray.
And what French gray were you using before that you start 20%?
20%.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jen says, do you have the kiln at home or at the school? This one's at the school. And, I'm always nervous that I'm going to burn the school down. So being able to check the kiln, make sure it hasn't malfunctioned when I'm away, gives me peace of mind. So today's firing was an oh 06 firing and went up to about 1820 degrees or so. And the kiln has been cooling down now since 3 o'clock. So it's only at 500 degrees, just a little too hot to cook a pizza. So some artists and art teachers will fire through the night while everyone's sleeping. It does take a long time. And right now the question is, what are you making with the kiln? The kiln has some student work in it, some pinch pot figures, and then also a coffee cup I made. So anxious to see how that glaze comes out.
Get the lid off of here. All right, we're going to add a little bit more saturation to the body down here.
All right, what color is that now?
This is
orange
yellow ochre.
Yeah, yellow ochre. All right.
But then I'm going to change that to sunburst yellow. That was the wrong color. I wanted
crow statues. Yeah, I'll make some crow decoys and just set them out in the yard and pretend to feed them so that the other crows, see that I'm safe.
All right, now a surprise
looking good.
color, a little bit of blue.
I like how that
And
gray's working in there.
a little bit of blue in just to make these shadows, make things feel a little bit more three-dimensional.
And that blue, that orange underneath it, it really warms it up. Acts a little bit like a blue-green over the orange. You get a little bit of variety with that blue, depending on where you're using it. Since this is a transparent medium, nice. Wow, that looks good.
Yeah, I just want to get some color in there.
Those complementary colors are harmonizing.
All right, let's get some color on the beak, and we're going to go to some purple here. Actually, we're going to start with a little bit of the color Deco Pink. Again, I can't get these lids off. I should have got these lids off beforehand.
Let's see. There was a question about what type of pens are they? Matt's using Prismacolor alcohol-based markers, and he had used Staedtler drawing pens before that.
Go ahead and put some of this color down in the feet here. Tie it in with the beak. Because the beak and the feet kind of have the same colors in them.
That's right.
I don't know what is going on there.
We got a doggy emoji.
Must be somebody outside. Yeah.
Coming through.
Something's going on out there. Let's go ahead with the purple. And we're going to add some color here. And I'm choosing purple because I can see a little bit of blue purple up there. But also it's the complement of yellow. We're gonna,
looks like you're hitting the dark areas with the purple.
Right, yeah. And we're going to darken it even still, but... All right, let's do the same down here.
So Buddy's been drawing along with using just the General's layout pencils, just a graphite drawing, and says there's no way to make it within an hour. But
no, if you're using just a pencil,
yeah, it's a slow coverage medium there compared to the markers. Even if Matt's working with colors and changing markers, he can still cover a lot of space fast with them. But I love that you're using a different medium, a medium that you have, and that's a good, good for everybody. You can still work along with us when we're drawing, and it doesn't have to be the same medium. And your drawing will look different, where you've deviated maybe in medium, but we can still talk about and answer questions about other aspects to the drawing.
All All right, we're going to make this darker with a little bit of cool gray. There we go, 70% cool gray.
It's pretty strong.
It is, but it won't be as dark as you think it is.
And the markers go down a little darker than they stay, don't they? The alcohol-based markers. When they dry, they slightly
maybe a little
lighten.
bit. But we're still going to leave peaks of that purple showing through. It's definitely somebody invading our territory out there.
Yeah. Reba said, my dog is barking at your dog.
Yeah, there's people that want their dogs out there, and I think they like the fact that it makes the dogs go crazy. So they keep doing it. All right, let's add a little bit more shadow here with some 50% cool gray. Yeah, somebody's gonna get it here. Not you guys. And I know it's got to be close to the timer. Ah, time's up.
The time expired just a couple minutes ago.
Okay, we're going to keep going here. I'm going to go with the French gray 70% and make some of these dark areas a little bit darker up here in the brown areas.
And stepping down the value scale with this French gray from 20 to 50, now 70%. And again, these are Prismacolor alcohol-based markers, Prismacolor markers. They have a small point on one end and a wider chisel point on the other. And the pens were Statler drawing pens. And I think Matt used a 0.1 and a 0.8 as far as the size of those pens.
So you can see how the gray just makes the values a lot darker. Creates more contrast. I'm still also going to put in a shadow underneath the bird here. So. Lose that highlight up there though.
That's right. You don't want to lose that.
Right. A little bit more variety down here.
Question is, do the markers dry the same shade or value as when they're wet? Close.
Pretty much.
Yeah, they lighten maybe just a touch, and it could be different for certain colors. I feel like the Copic markers that I use, grayscale markers,
freaking heck.
definitely dry a little bit lighter than how they go down.
Okay, I'm going to add this shadow here. This is a very light purple. Actually, kind of wanted this to be a little bit more blue, but it is what it is.
But he says the color and value of the little feet all make the difference and ground the little guy. Yeah, it's a nice transition into the shadowy, the ground plane only indicated by the shadow. And the feet have a lot of contrast, the way Matt let the purple show through, and they're pretty dark too. So with the contrast and the value, they do add a lot of visual weight. You're right, to balance out the visual weight of the head, because the head's got smaller shapes in it. It's very high contrast with light and dark values close together as well. So leaving those highlights in the feet and getting a lot of darkness in the feet do add weight to the bottom of our image. It needs that.
All right. I could go back and add a little bit more with the line work, but time is up. And I have a feeling that someone was just mauled outside where we are here. So,
Yeah, and it got so quiet so fast. I'm a little worried.
But I would like to, this is not, it's not completely finished, but it's good enough for a sketch here. But
yeah, it looks great. And such a wide variety of temperature.
Yeah.
Not just in the duck compared to the shadow, but within the duck. So that's really great to see happening, the way Matt has interjected color contrast into a pretty neutral subject. So you can always pump up those colors, especially with markers. And speaking of pumping up colors with markers, Charles says, would the set of 12 Prismacolor markers be enough to do this drawing? You may need more than 12 to do it the way Matt did, because he used so many grays and different values of gray. But you could still do it with those 12 and just layer opposite colors to make a more neutral mixture. It would be even more colorful, but you could still do it.
Yeah, and I have my sketch here near me, and I'll grab it, and you guys can take a look at the two drawings. So this is what I did in preparation, practice drawing, and then that's the finished drawing. And boy, they're pretty similar.
Yeah, they are.
My practice drawing is a little bit more proportionally correct. I think I went a little bit slower with that one. And made this guy a little fatter with a little bit of a thinner neck, but pretty similar.
This is another good lesson. I always say, make the same drawing more than once. It's okay to do that. Artists don't always do that, and musicians always practice their songs before they play them, and they play them over and over. And many famous professional artists did the same thing. They would make the same or similar paintings more than once, and really get to know that subject and their colors and their composition.
Yeah, but I did the test one this time just to get an idea of how long it was going to take, and then to pick out some of the colors, so I wasn't frantically.
Do you think it helped? Like, do you think you would have run out of time even more so if you hadn't done the practice and had a better feel for the pace?
It definitely helped, because in my practice sketch, I started with a 0.1 pen, and you can see the smaller lines. You see that?
Yeah, I do. I see them.
And I didn't really have time to do that. So I did everything with the 0.8 pen.
Okay.
Although looking at this, I do love the little stringy lines.
Yeah.
And I would like to go back and add them to this one. But
yeah, you could do that. You can always go back to pen.
Yeah. All right. All right. That's it. So,
all right. Jenny says it's a super cute duckling. And let's see. Is there a reference photo for the duck? Yes. The reference photo is under the post tab. Is that right, Matt?
Yeah, you'll need to go to the YouTube channel. So you click on the little icon of my face in the lower left-hand corner, and that will take you to the YouTube channel. And while you're there, make sure you subscribe and subscribe and click on the notification bell, and then click on the post tab, and that will take you to the photo reference. Now, you can also, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but I also broadcast Gettin Sketchy at thevirtualinstructor.com. So if you go to thevirtualinstructor.com, click on the live tab in the main menu, you'll see a link for Gettin Sketchy, and you can actually watch the live stream here and have the resource directly downloadable, as well as links to all the materials that we use tonight. So that is also available to you guys as well. So 2 places to get that. All right.
Very good.
See, we got a super chat.
Yeah.
And we appreciate that. Arlie Elliott, or is it Arlie? Yeah, it's Arlie Elliott. That's right.
Elliott.
Yeah. And of course, you can put a comment there too. There. Does Matt have a second to explain the background he might have liked? Yeah. What I would have liked to do here is put some kind of graphic element behind it. And, looking at the duck here, I don't know if a square element would work, but maybe a circle.
Yeah, just a circle, almost like a halo.
Yeah, just like
color.
and I would have made it purple. a purple circle to contrast the yellow.
That'd be cool.
Kind of like what Londecker did in his paintings.
Yeah.
Just a graphic element in the background to add more contrast and more interest, because there's
Something
a lot
unexpected.
there's a lot of blank space up here. Plus the shadow goes off the bottom of the picture plane. But if we had a circle up here, a rectangle would work. That would be kind of cool, actually. But just some kind of graphic element that the duck extended out beyond, just to fill up some of the space up here and create some more contrast and interest. So, all right. If you drew a comic out of this guy, what would you change?
Well, I'd give him a weapon.
That's what Ashley would do.
A little tiny axe.
If I drew a comic out of this guy, well, if I was drawing a comic, I wouldn't have had so much looser line work. I would probably have it be a little bit tighter, and I also would have flattened out the colors. So the colors wouldn't have been the same here. There were some of the colors would be the same, but I wouldn't have layered and modeled the duck as much to try to make it look three-dimensional. So it would have definitely been a flatter, easy to draw images, because comics are supposed to be easy to draw.
And you would have to draw this duckling like 500 times in a comic.
Right.
So
and other people would need to be able to draw the same duck in the same way. So, it's the same thing kind of with animation, is that you simplify things so that it's repeatable. Can I use watercolor markers? Absolutely, you can. You would have probably similar results, with it would be less linear. Your marks would be
more softer edges.
Yeah. Probably, well, never mind. I was saying probably could have finished this one on time if I did watercolor markers, but that's not true. I would have definitely changed this little thing, because this ended up turning like a little bit of a snake or something, like he's Scarface or something. These should not be connected. All right. All right, that's it. All right, let's go ahead and switch back out over here then. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed that little marker sketch of a duckling there. Thank you guys for sticking around to the end if you did. If you like this video, make sure you give it a like. And if you're watching the recorded version of this video, leave a comment below. That, when you leave a comment, it actually helps YouTube pick up on these videos and show them to more people. So leave a comment, like the video, and if you haven't already subscribed, do that as well. Ashley, you have anything else for folks?
Well, last week I drew a snowboarder and it was still cold outside. And this week, Matt drew a duckling, which was, I think, a perfect entrance into springtime. So very appropriate and seasonally appropriate for the weather that we're having. We don't have a theme for this season, but maybe since I'm doing the drawing next week, maybe I'll think of something that just fits the time, or maybe just the time of day. But I'm looking forward to drawing with you next Wednesday. So make sure you're here, and I'll see you then.
Yeah, for me, I just wanted to find a image that I could use markers and pen and ink with. I just wanted to use that combination of media, and I found a really challenging one to do that with. So yeah, I've already picked out like 2 or 3 of the images that remain. I'm not real sure if I'm going to stick with them or not, because I changed my mind a lot. But next week, Ashley will be drawing, and yeah, don't forget to tell all about the crows next week, Ashley. I'm sure he will. I'm sure he'll come with some strange animal man story.
Yeah, I hope there's an update.
Or something about sumo wrestlers or something like that.
Definitely, tournament starts. So I'll keep you guys abreast of how it's going.
All right. Well, we got to get ready for our next show, and we will see you next time. Good night, everybody.